Hello, in this video, we're going to deal with situations where you need to claim one tax. For example, if you're in Canada or if you're in a country that has a value added tax of some kind, you might have a GST or an HST and so on, but you want to be able to claim just the input tax, not the other tax, the provincial tax, let's say. And in some entries, there are two taxes, but you claim just one of them. So let's take a look at an example of how this works. So, for example, if you have an item, let's say you bought a product, and let's just call it gas for now. Let's say you have a 5% tax for the GST, and you have an item for $105, and your tax is 5% for GST. Well, you can see what the program's doing. You've entered 105. And the program took out the GST of $5 automatically, giving you a $100 item. So that works well when there's only one tax on that item. But what if there's a GST and a PST? So for example, let's say your provincial tax or the other tax is 8%. So now the combined tax would bring this $100 item to $113. But the GST portion is only 5. So now the program isn't calculating right because it's thinking that 5% of 113 is 538, and as we know, there's no tax on tax, so this is not quite right. So what do we do? So let's just submit this for a minute and come back to it, and I'll show you the solution to this. I'll enter a date. Okay, so there's the entry. Let's go to our setup screen where the taxes are set up. And what we can do here is we have a GST, and what we can do is just call this something else, GPT, so GST and PST combined. And we're going to have a factor in here that will allow us to calculate just the GST correctly, even when there's two taxes on the invoice. And so the way to calculate that factor is, let's look at our calculator. And let's say the PST is 8%. In this example. So what we're going to do is we're going to take our 5% GST, and we're going to divide by 1.08, which is representing the 8% PST portion on that bill. It's going to give us a new factor of 4.629. So what we're going to do is we're going to use this 4.629. Well, it rounds up to 3 actually, so we can use 4.63, and we can just put that in here as our factor to use when we have two taxes. So let's just save that. Now let's go back to that entry, and let's use this GPT that we just created. And you see what it did? It took that 113, which is actually 100 plus two taxes, brought it to 113, but it just extracted the GST portion and left it at 108 because, in this case, if you're not having to remit the PST to the government, you're just going to expense it anyway. So this works in that case. So if you only have to remit one tax, but you're being charged two, then this is how you do it, and it can make your bookkeeping entry that much simpler. So the next time you have a bill, and if it's if there's only one tax in a bill, then you would just choose this tax to do it right. But if you have another bill where there's actually two taxes on it, but you're only having to claim back GST, and then you just do it this way, and that's all there's to it. Thanks for tuning in.